Namaste and welcome to our special talk show on one of the most pressing crises of our times, climate change. Let's begin with ancient wisdom. The Rig Veda says, Mata Bhumihi Putro Aham Prithviya. Earth is our mother and we are her children. This powerful Vedic verse is not just poetry, it is a reminder, a call to care, to protect and to nurture. But today Mother Earth is in pain. The last decade has been the warmest in recorded history. The Arctic melts, forests burn, oceans boil, and storms rage like never before. These are not future warnings, they are happening right now. The question is, are we listening? Today let us try to hear that little voice from science and spirituality, stories of suffering and hope, and examples of how human will can turn dry deserts into thriving green forests. Together, let us understand our role and responsibility in this planetary crisis. The numbers do not lie and they are terrifying. Let us see the status in a few numbers. 2023 was the hottest year ever recorded. Sea levels have risen by over 20 centimeters since 1900, pushing people out of their homes. The Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the global average. Over 1.2 billion people could be climate refugees by 2050. Climate-related disasters cost the world $313 billion in 2023 alone. 420 million hectares of forests have been lost since 1990, larger than the size of India. The Amazon rainforest, once a carbon sink, is now emitting more carbon than it absorbs. And all these are scientific verified data. These are not just facts, they are red flags. गुलजार evocatively says, जंगल पेड़ पहाड़ समंदर इंसान सब कुछ काट रहा है, छील छील के खाल जमीन की टुकड़ा टुकड़ा बांट रहा है. However, if you are thinking this is too big for me to fix, hold that thought, because change starts with awareness and action. Climate change is a global emergency, but its impacts are deeply personal. Crops are failing, rainfall is erratic, and drinking water is vanishing. By 2050, food production could drop by 10%, even as demand rises. 7 million people die each year from air pollution. Heat waves are happening. They cause more hospital visits than ever before. 1 million species are at risk of extinction. From hurricanes in the US to floods in India, climate events are more frequent and more devastating. Droughts are sparking tensions globally, including between Indian states and across borders. We read the stories of families in Bangladesh who have lost their villages to rising seas and farmers in Maharashtra whose crops fail years after year. This is not just an environmental issue, it is a human rights crisis. But as I said before, the good news is that hope is not a myth and change is also happening. For a few instances that I would like to name, the Save Soil movement by Sadhguru, a global campaign that brought together 3.9 billion people's voices across 193 countries to demand healthy soil. Rajasthan's Green Miracle in arid areas like Jodhpur, water harvesting and plantation drives have brought green life back to the desert. Israel's Desert Bloom, once barren Negev desert, is now an oasis thanks to drip irrigation, afforestation and technology. Array Forest Project Maharashtra was once a concrete dumping ground and is now a thriving urban forest. Delhi's Miyawaki forests, dense, fast-growing forests created in under 3 years using a Japanese method. These are proof when people care, earth heals. Want to make a difference? Start by planting the right plants. Here are some species that support biodiversity and thrive in UP, Varanasi and across India. So the normal local neem tree, which is an air purifier, medicinal, supports bird life. The peepal tree, which is also the sacred tree, releases oxygen even at night. The Amla, Indian gooseberry tree, rich in vitamin C, supports pollinators. The Ashoka tree, symbol of peace, vibrant flowers attract bees. Drumstick or moringa, nutrient rich, grows fast, drought resistant. The Jamun supports birds, offers shade and fruit. Bamboo, fast growing, binds soil, habitat for small animals. Tulsi, the holy basil, sacred, medicinal, pollinator, magnet. These plants are not just green, they are guardians of life. You know, we don't need to be a world leader to make a world of change. There are small steps that we all can take. We can plant trees, organize or join tree planting drives. We can use solar power and opt for solar lights or water heaters. We can recycle and reuse. We can reduce plastic. We can choose cloth bags. We can switch to public transport and reduce our carbon footprint. We can consume wisely, support sustainable brands and eat locally. We can go digital, save paper and think before printing. And these monthly eco days, we can make children aware of these days. Why wait for only Environment Day? Let's celebrate the earth every month. And of course, through radio, television, internet, this awareness has to be spread so that more and more people get involved. Every little act has a ripple effect, and a ripple can become a wave. In India, we say Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, the world is one family. Climate change does not need a visa. Of course, you know, the list is endless. Canada's wildfires in 2023 burned over 18 million hectares of forest. Europe's heat wave every year is seeing record-breaking temperatures. Pakistan's flood displaced 33 million people in 2022, causing $30 billion loss. Africa, the least responsible for emissions, suffers the most devastating impact. The crisis is global. So must be the response from the UN Climate Pact to grassroots green warriors. Me and you, everyone matters. As we close, here is a thought to carry home from science, soil and soul. When rivers cry and forests weep, oceans rise and mountains speak, yet hope remains in hands that sow a greener world, a kinder tomorrow. The earth has given us everything. Now it is time to give something back. Let us not be the generation that knew the truth and stayed silent. Let's make an effort. कौन कहता है कि आसमां में सुराख नहीं हो सकता? एक पत्थर तो तबीयत से उछालो यारो. Let us be the generation that chose life. Let us do something about it. Thank you so much.